Alright, so it's my second week at Bobtown, so let's get into it. So on Monday, first thing I did was went back and checked on the clay that's rehydrating in the buckets. I opened them up and they were still really dry, so I added more water. And then it's the return of the green tomatoes. Here's a video of the smallest one. I was really like the way that they turned out. I feel like it was a good balance between sort of brushy and loose, and then also very illustrative. Here's a picture of it for reference, and then here's a little bit of a trial and error. I was trying to make, I was painting with slip. That's what this is, slip. And I was trying to make like the inside of a tomato so they all didn't look the same. But I was getting a little bit too intense about it. So I went and I just covered the whole thing with slip again and just scraped it off and painted again. And here you can see just like a green circle as a base, and then I got the darker slip as like an outline for the inside of the tomato, like the shadows, like the sections of it, that's what I was going for. And then I took some white slip for kind of the brightness inside. On the actual inside of a green tomato, it's all green. But in order to make it look differently, that's how I did it. So yeah, I think I found a simpler way to portray the inside of a green tomato, and later I did some carving around it that really sold it. Here is a moth I saved from the sink. Again, an ecological wonder, truly. And it's vibrating super fast to dry off, and I thought it was super cool that I had to video it. On this next video, I got too close and it flew at me, and it scared me. So here you go. Oh my gosh! Oh, it's flying! Oh shoot! Where'd it go? Yeah, it just flew off. Wow. And it scared the crap out of me. They scared the crap out of me. It was so bad. Oh my gosh. Up next, so after the moth scared the bejeebus out of me, I attempted to make my first plate, and as you can see, it fell apart. And with the discards of it, I made some, I don't know what they're called, I guess grinders for a mortar and pestle. And I made the bowl too later, but here's the plates I finished. This one's a little bit flatter and wider, and then this one has a lot more of an angle to it. And then here you can see pictures of the mortar and pestle with the bowl. It was a hassle to figure out. It was so small, but I'm super happy with it, and I cannot wait to fire them. So after I finished the mortar and pestle, I left the plates to dry out in the sun, and I went inside to go refill my coffee. While I was in there, Vicky stopped me, and we talked about my plans for the summer. So I'm going to read out kind of what it says on the paper, because I know it's sideways. I can't really fix it, so I'm just going with it. So first on the worksheet, it has listed out some field trips that we'll have. So it's going to be some local potters that I get to visit, or they'll come to us, or whatever. This week I got to meet Cindy over at T-Horse Studio in Irvine, Kentucky. Next is talking about some of the things I'll learn, which is like operating a ceramic studio. So that's like with inventory, daily maintenance, scheduling, teaching day and clay workshops for new students. And then for funding, we're going to talk about nonprofit art organizations and grant writing, which is kind of the stuff that keeps Bobtown writing. So it's helpful information for me in the future, which is really what I wanted out of this internship. And then I'm going to work on artist statements and drafting and revision, which is something I'm really nervous about, but that also is why I really need help with it. And then some attendance just with everything that I'm going to do there. And yeah, that's kind of what the second page is. It's just like the logistics of the things that I need to get done. So then I trimmed up my plates. They were dry enough, and as you can see, they look totally different. And I am super into swirls. I think I've mastered how to do it, and now I'm just obsessed, and they're on pretty much everything I've made. And that wraps up Monday. On Tuesday, it was finally the day my stuff was all bisque fired and ready to go in the gas kiln, so I needed to go get it glazed. And so I spent part of the day just kind of waiting for them to be cool enough, and then I did all sorts of funky stuff. The bottom part there is like Shanner's Aribe, and then I put a mystery glaze on top. It was supposed to be yellow salt. I think it's still yellow salt, but the bucket has this sort of foreboding label on it that it may not be. But I was just kind of doing funky stuff and experimenting. And in there, in the kiln, you could see that there's all these little white cups and stuff. Uh, we fired tons and tons of those. That was most of the firing. And so we spent part of the day waiting for the person who made all those little cups to come and check and see like if they were the right thing because it had been so long, or to change them out with other stuff. Clarence also taught me how to make cone packs. I kind of got the gist of how to make them, but I hadn't made them before. So now I definitely know how to make cone packs, and I think they are really cute. I love the colors. Them on that little bench, it's adorable. And I ended up staying really late on Tuesday because we were busy trying to get it loaded up. So I took a little break and ate some cake in there. By the time everything was settled with the tiny cups and we had loaded up the kiln, it was too late and I needed to go home. So I didn't get a chance to brick up the kiln, but Clarence is already talking about doing another gas firing really soon, so I'm confident I'll get to very soon. So overnight on Tuesday, they left the pilot light on to keep the kiln inside about 200 degrees, just to really extra dry out those cone packs, and so it would be easier to start firing in the morning. Clarence wanted to fire in the morning because he had only used this gas kiln a few times and he didn't want to risk it. So he started it that morning. It was at like 600 degrees by the time I had gotten there. So it was going pretty quickly, and I helped Clarence some with the logs for the gas kiln, just like hour by hour how it was progressing. Then the rest of my morning was kind of centered around prepping for the wood kiln. I put on a mask for this stuff because it was pretty dusty, and my job was to shovel out all the ash that was left over in there. You could see I snapped a quick little sneaky picture of Clarence who was just chilling in the wood kiln. He was just looking around in there. And there's a picture of kind of like where I was scraping out. It looks really like ethereal and grungy and strange. And then this other clip is from Clarence's ankle, and if you look really closely, you can see some bubbles from the soda ash, and that was really cool. And then my next job was to clear off these kiln shelves for the wood kiln so it was ready. It had lots of buildup and that kind of thing. So I got this brick grater thing, I don't know its proper name, but I have apparently never seen a nice and new one because I have only known them to be decrepit and cracked and have the nail in them like that. And so then Clarence was saying that one was really bad, and I was confused what he meant because it was working. So then he went and got, and that's what the new one looks like. So I was shocked, to say the least. I was so amazed. It was like some new invention. There I am with my little mask with the new nice brick that fixed it. And so then after that, I trimmed some plates and then I went home because I was feeling really under the weather that day. So then on Thursday, this is a picture of Vicky's gladiolus. We were just talking the other day about how I had some pink ones at home, and she said she had never had pink ones. And then a couple days later, some pink ones bloomed, so that was great. I started off the day, I wasn't feeling very well, but I made some tea dust glaze. I was supposed to make 5,000 grams. And then I went over to the sink, and there was a brown recluse. And I'm really into biology. I'm really into bugs. I love spiders. I don't love venomous spiders. I don't like spiders that will hurt me. And its eyes are on the top of its head, so it was just staring at me. And it had a foreboding aura around it, and I did not like it. And I was panicking because I was thinking about, like, if I try to squish it and then it runs away, it's too fast, and then boom, but he's trying to bite me. So I even planned to I'm telling on myself so much in this vlog. I even thought about like pouring boiling water on it, but they can breathe underwater for an hour. So I was frightened and I didn't know what to do, and then Clarence came in and he just picked up a sponge and wiggled it a little bit and then poured it down the sink like it was nothing. I have no words. So then I made tea dust, but then I messed up the tea dust because I put too much water in it, so then the specific gravity was too low. So then I had to add 1,000 more grams, and it was easily solved, but it was just, today was just like a big hiccup. And then there you can see me on the ground. It was raining, and I didn't care because I was cramping. I just needed to lay. But I wanted to power through the day because, you know, I still wanted to show up. It's an obligation that I have. And then here I am making some Penn State Chino. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Here's a picture of the bottom of the bucket. When I tell you this is the most foul thing I've ever smelled. Philip, it doesn't even compare to like the bottom of the giant white clay bucket. It's not comparable. It was like this sweet, deadly, ugh. And then here's some process pictures of the whole thing. And at the bottom of the Penn State bucket was a yellow jacket, apparently, that I sieved up. So there's its little parts. So on Friday, we ended up spending most of the day outside of the studio, so I didn't end up getting any pictures of the glaze kiln because I thought we would be back, but everything came out and I'll have the pictures in the next video. But on Friday, I met Cindy from T-Horse Studio in Irving, Kentucky. Some of my questions were about burnout or turning points in her career or how ceramics can be very temperamental, but I never had to ask that because she just openly was just talking about it and how she had been experiencing being burnt out with ceramics and not wanting to do it, and that she had recently had a really big loss in the family, and she had been going to what she called her shrink and just growing a lot as a person, and so ceramics kind of took the back burner. But she currently has a support system with a fellow potter where they go and they just chit-chat about life and about work. They encourage each other to get back into it, and I thought that was really inspiring and really encouraging about how community can help you with your art. We also talked about community after college and how it can be kind of difficult to not have anybody to critique with or to talk about your work after you're a working artist. And they were talking about plans of maybe trying to find a way to introduce that to Bobtown and having a community event for that. She also talks about this time as a turning point in her career and how she feels like she's coming at it from a completely new angle and working at it for herself. And maybe backing off a little bit from the horses because she's kind of tired of the horses, and I can't really blame her. Horses sell, but you know, drawing the same thing every day, all day would be really exhausting. And then she also touched on how ceramics can be really temperamental and you just can't be attached to every single piece. Overall, I think meeting her was super helpful, and really it was just nice to meet a woman potter because there's nobody around me that's really artsy or craftsy or anything. So meeting potters in general and artists, I'm like, wow! Even though I've been in college with my art major for like 3 years now, but I still go, wow, this is so cool. But it really was nice to see a woman potter. And that's a wrap for week 2. Thanks for watching. I'm not gonna lie to you, my computer gets so hot and like, I think I melted the microphone part of it. Sims has taken away my microphone privileges.